It says we are live. Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us on our Thursday night live. Good to see everybody out there. Glad you joined us. All you Legoers across the fruited base plate across the world there. We are so excited that you are joining us here today. And we have a great motley crew here tonight. Some of our regulars couldn't be here tonight, but the rest of us are regular and everything that implies. So except for Gil, we're not sure if he's still spitting out pine or hugging the mug. So we're not sure about him. In fact, we will ask him first.
We aren't even a minute in, and we're at potty humor. This is a new first.
That's right. You missed me for a week. I'm catching up. So let's go ahead and see who is in the chat. We got Jeff McElwee in the chat, and we've got Brom in the chat. Welcome. And so glad you guys are here. So what is going on in the Great White North?
Oh no, not first. Actually, no, you're gonna have to come back because I'm just setting up the.
Oh, you're still videoing? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you gotta get the maple syrup out of the camera there. So, welcome, Dude Jude. How you doing, Dude Jude? And Jay, good to have you here as well. So let's go a little less north to Ryan. What is going on with you, my man?
Hello. I'm doing pretty well. I am sorting a giant drawer of snot brackets that just grew and grew and grew until it was too big. So I will be sorting during this exciting evening of video chatting tonight.
Are you splitting them into different types, or is it?
Yeah, so we got those versus the brackets that go down versus the brackets that go up versus everything in between.
The brackets go sideways.
And then versus the old school brackets that was like the original snot and the headlight brick. So I'm just sorting out all my brackets tonight.
I tell you what, there's nothing that hangs up a drawer like a bracket. If a bracket drawer gets like overfilled, you can never get that thing open. It aggravates.
That's basically what happened. Was it was just so big I couldn't fit anymore, and it was just like, why I can't this open.
And it's just one bracket. It's not like a whole pile of them. It's like one little bracket stuck up in the drawer, and you can't get it out.
Yeah.
I got you. Oh, hey, can you give us any updates on the park?
I missed last week because I'm very tired from a lot of work going on. It changes every day. If there's a section of the park I don't get to for a couple days, by the time I get back to it, it's progressed a lot just in those couple of days. So it's really coming along. The goal is to have as much construction done before winter as possible, but the opening is still next year sometime, and the date hasn't been announced quite yet, but it's coming along. There was some sweet stuff on social media this week of the brand new ride that this park is getting that no one else has, and it's a new ride called Factory Adventure Tour, and it's got some really neat ride vehicles and animations that are going in it. So I'm looking forward to that one.
I believe you put that on your Twitter, your Facebooks and stuff like that. Is that correct?
My Facebook page, yeah. It's started making the rounds a day or two ago. It's pretty neat.
Cool. Good deal. All right. Good to have you here, man. Good to see you, as always. I don't know what that was, but it was nice. All right, Rich, what's going on in your world, man?
Just back from a mini vacation to Ocean City.
A mini.
Still packing up.
Was it a vacation from packing?
A mini vacation that we should have taken in June that ended up being not June or August, or it ended up being now. So I'm still packing up these things.
Are those bins full or empty?
These are full. Oh, those bins. No, those are empty. Those will probably go straight to the. That's what was in the closet under the stairs. The stairs right behind here. There's it's a split foyer, so the landing's about here, and everything. It was jam packed with stuff. But those Arco Mills type drawers there, those got to get packed up. You there?
Yep. You're popping in and out just a little bit as you turn your camera.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Very good. All right.
And we stopped at the Lego store and got some 20% off.
Scratching
and because my wife felt sorry for me, I got the Elf Clubhouse.
Nice.
Good. I wish my wife felt that sorry for me.
Well,
No kidding.
yeah, she's like, it's not going to be here next year, is it? And I was like, no. And of course, we got the
Liar, you
Minecraft
liar.
robot free gift.
Oh, that's the free. Wait, the free gift with purchase. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Non-functioning
pretty cool.
monsters.
And she, of course, got something. I made sure she got Tokyo. So she does architecture stuff. She likes to build that. And then she also felt sorry for me and let me have extra elves because I always need extra elves.
By the way, someone in the chat is proposing to you. He wants to marry you. I'm just saying.
Yes, I'm sure he does. I don't think I'm available.
Marry his wife.
And of course, I needed some pumpkin heads and new witch hats and Elvira. I needed Elvira.
Spoopy.
I needed an Elvira big.
Cool.
Yeah. So always groovy.
All right. So who here is thinking, okay, your sympathy trip to the Lego store is more than my normal trip to the Lego store? That's what I'm thinking. You got more brick than I would go, and with permission.
Yeah. So before the downfall of the world, and we didn't have to move, and things weren't bad, I had a $300 a month budget.
I would say you spent that very well.
And I spent it quite often. And Bricklink orders were coming out of my PayPal, to finish up some projects.
Oh, of course, right?
Of course, yeah. That could be up to about $200 a month.
Minifig Collector, welcome to the chat. Uber Geek Gaming, welcome to the chat. Glad to have you here. All right.
I'm not available.
All right.
Out there.
Matt, welcome from your wilderness wandering. You have been vacating on us a little bit lately. What is going on in your world?
Yeah, so I'm a teacher, and typically I am in the middle of the semester, which means that I can never go on one of these legendary color tours, and I'm 100% online this semester, so I arranged the semester so I could get away and not have to check in every day online. So yeah, we did a little journey, and it was great. A little break from Lego. So you were talking about burnout, and I know you had recently had a little vacation on the coast, and so I'm back home and picking up. I still have stuff to put away from some bulk stuff, but I too went to the Lego store this week with double points and with the gift today. So I got the same Mindstorm GWP, but I splurged for the Haunted House set, which had been on my radar. And I figured, if you're going to buy a set that expensive, double point is a great time to do it. And I also am now putting together the Razor Crest, which I pre-ordered, months ago, and it showed up. So I'm at work at the Razor Crest, and one of these days I'm going to finish that cathedral downstairs. So that's what's going on Lego-wise at our house.
Yeah, I was thinking about that cathedral, how that was going. So,
well, Dana checked in my cat, so he can confirm the size of it.
What, the cat or the cathedral?
Well, both, because you have to walk past the cathedral to feed the cat. So he was kind enough to keep Kitty fed and watered while we were away.
While he was trying on your clothes.
My clothes would not fit.
We talked about this. We said today on the Odin clay.
Let's just say all my clothes.
Particularly the feather boas. Leave those alone.
Let's see. Oh, we've got Komikal Kin is in the chat here. I hope I didn't goof your name up there. And Minifig Collector, I think I mentioned you before. I'm glad you're here. All right. So glad you're back from vacation. I know you had a longer vacation than me. I'm not going to mention that again, except I'm jealous. So I'm glad you're back, though. It's good to have you here. And we're also glad to hear you. Your sound is a lot better Now, before we get up to Brian, are you ready, greased syrup hose? Are you ready to go, man?
I certainly am. And so is the hose.
Who okayed this?
All right. So yeah. So actually, I did after last week being up to 0. This week I actually was able to do something, and one is actually taking a photo of something that has been 95% built on my desk for 9 years. So getting tired of looking at all the stuff around my build room, like I'm in the process now. I'm going to be breaking everything down, sorting it, because I want to start to build again. And I just mentally can't do that with all these half builds all around.
Yep.
So anyway, what I did is actually, it was like remember Crimson Skies from like 9,000 years ago?
Yes.
That game, right?
Yeah.
And it became a bit of
Good.
yeah, and it became a bit of a theme, like for the building community and stuff, right? So I was doing something like that, which was, and I'm holding it upside down here because, like I said, it's not quite done yet, and it's stupidly heavy. So it's like a Zeppelin. So you turn it upside down, right?
Uh-huh.
But this thing is like, because I build like a moron. The inside of this is like a neutron star. Like, it's so overbuilt. It's twice as heavy as it should be. So it actually does work. But anyway, the whole concept of this, it was like a carrier. So this thing goes along, and then this sort of like fighter plane drops out of the bottom.
Nice.
And goes and does its business and hooks back up. And I had partially built to go in here. There was like a tanker function and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm tired of the whole thing. So
I dare you to put the plane back on and turn it upside down.
Do it.
Or
Do it
right side
now.
I tried
now.
that for this
Right
next
now.
part, and it collapsed like one of Dana's rovers. Like, it was like, it went down like you know, you see, like you see when like the giraffe is born and he's covered in the and he's covered in the birth goo, and he thinks, hey man, I can do this, and it just doesn't work out. That's how it looked, right?
Thank you for saying the birth goo. Thank you very much. I don't
Hey, well, it's PG, right? It's birth goo.
classing up the joint as always.
So anyway, so what I did, I'm going to see if I can share the screen.
By the way, you can tell we've all got our lug book from our ambassador, because now we're starting to bust on him again. So sorry, Dana, the love's over.
Well, it was a nice vacation while it lasted.
Just remember, when I did the show, there was no floppy rover,
There was no floppy rover.
and all that implies.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm not going there. I don't know what that means. So
All right, so
that's the next GIF I need to add to my collection. I don't know what that means. That's what.
all right. So I'm sharing the screen here, and I'll show you the next part of this.
Did it snow?
Yeah.
That's your front. That's your window in your living room, right outside.
That's right. This is a picture of my back. It's white hair. But yeah, so
You're like one of the white apes from Mars? What are you?
that's right. So
It snows year round up there, doesn't it?
yeah. My neighbors are Eskimos, and no, we don't say that. Yeah.
You worry about polar bears breaking into your trash cans?
Yeah, I ski to work, the whole 9 yards. It's awesome. So yeah, this thing here is something I created. It's like a cloud bank wall. So it's cotton balls put on something, project light behind it. So it produced this.
Nice.
So that was all that went through to make this. And this picture is actually taken upside down because, as mentioned, it can't support the weight without falling apart.
It's all camera magic.
Sneaky.
So
That's right.
your lighter than air ship is heavier than
sin. Yes.
It's a Led Zeppelin, basically.
I love it.
Yeah.
But no, your photography skills are just Killing it, man. By the way, did you see this comment from Stever? Welcome, Stever, by the way. The great back, the great one.
Exactly. Oh, and one more thing. Before we move on, I want to say thank you to Rich for pronouncing foyer as it should be. Thank you. My entire nation thanks you.
Send us maple cookies, please. I haven't had any yet this season. So
They can be made in just bulk Lego that you don't want to sort anymore. Just send it.
Speaking of somebody that looks like they're sitting in the foyer, let's go to Brian.
Carl the foyer.
Little foyer.
Oh.
No decorations today.
Well, I got back from my secret mission, my 3-week secret mission, just last night, so had no time to set up a background. But we had some pretty crazy Lego things happen this week, in that I found out that the company that made Lego Rock Raiders, the video game, which is one of my favorite games, one of my favorite themes, somebody bought like a bunch of hard drives that they own, and so they found like all this cool unreleased stuff. There's actually even like communications between Lego about how Lego wanted their stuff to appear, and all this like internal stuff that you would never see. So I found that, and that like completely reinvigorated my interest in Rock Raiders. And then just before the stream started, I pulled out all my rock monsters and decided to get into dissecting mode. So I started pulling these guys apart because I realized I had never done that before, and I wanted to see what was inside them and how they worked.
Now go ahead and disclaimer: these are held together by
Screws.
Okay. We're not breaking Lego plastic here.
The horror.
I know.
You just call me a mad scientist. Or
I just started and I couldn't stop.
We some people in here might have weak stomachs, so this is a disclaimer that we're about to see things that mortal men have not seen in 20 years. So
things that I couldn't even find them on Google after like opening them. I was like, has anybody ever done this? I couldn't find any evidence of it. But these are rock monster guts.
oh,
So the interesting thing about these is that I have 5 here, and they're all different colors, different shades of like greenish, yellowish, orange.
No,
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Wow.
Anyways,
well, what is wrong with you?
I
It's
think
like
we all know what that means.
7:15.
can we talk about how one of the levels in the game is called Rock Hard? Anyways, moving on. It really is. I played it today. It truly is. Anyway,
Perfect.
okay. So they are clearly using just like recycled Lego plastic that they're wiping up off the factory floor, because this one right here has got some marbling in it, which is obviously not something that they would put on a part that they wanted to show. And there's no Lego like mold numbers on it, whereas all the other Rock Monster pieces do have numbers. So it's just something pretty cool that I'd not seen before. Yeah.
No, that's super cool.
Yeah. So that was my discovery of the night. We've got a couple more over here. This one's lighter gray, and this one is kind of a darker gray.
I think they're made from the melted down teeth of former employees.
Whoever named that level Rock Hard, they melted it
right.
down and said, "This is
Joe, you've got Joe."
They're actually the chopped up remains of the entire Chima creative staff.
It's recycled retainers. That's what's made of.
Danda didn't have enough room in his car.
That's
We're gonna have to cut this stream short. Everybody, get out while you can." So yeah, that was my discovery.
That's awesome. I mean, I've never
That's cool.
thought about pulling one of those apart to look in the inside. I figured it would have been hollow, so that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
I thought the same. I mean, they're pretty light, but yeah.
There's a big chunk of wasted play.
That's twisted.
While we're going off the rails, I figured I'd slide this in here.
Oh man.
Can you reassemble it without the part inside?
Yeah, you can.
And is it functional? That's the question.
Yes, it is functional. This part right here is actually to hold the arm on. Hold on, let me get one here.
Oh man.
Are you saying it goes in the hole?
Oh, stop it!
You're like,
where's
actually,
the PG-13?
you know what you look like now? Now with that hand, you look like proctologist Groot.
I'm oh god, I'm Lego Edward Scissorhands over here. So yeah, so this right here holds the arm stable, although technically it does have like a ring on the inside here that it can hold on to. So it could work. It just wouldn't be as smooth and wouldn't function as well. I think they also did it for weight so that it felt heavier, but yeah.
Possibly so.
Are you going to use this
It's
for a
so
mock?
twisted looking. It really is.
It looks like you're making a mock of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I need to find a way to use just these in a creation or something.
I think you're right there, man. That's your Halloween costume.
I mean, that's cursed. That's some cursed Lego knowledge now that we all have.
Something I can't.
I would agree.
We all share this burden now.
There's got to be some Lego math involved there that those pieces can mount to something.
I don't think so.
It looks like you.
Where's Dr. Brahm? He can
Yeah,
tell
right.
us.
I mean, check like a 2x2 round brick. And
Ryan had to go offline. He didn't want to be seen on the screen.
Ryan is throwing up currently.
He
so-
said no involvement here. I don't know how I got here. I don't know these people. All right, that's my derailment for the night.
Thank you, Brian. That was awesome.
Thank you. You know, it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks since you've been from the show, so there's like a zip been
I
building.
gotta
up.
bring it back. Yeah.
It just popped right on the internet for everybody. So thank you very much. Mr. Sandlin, please bring your new dog onto screen to save us from this monstrosity.
She's sleeping
Oh,
right
okay.
now. She's
Don't wake her out.
hang on. We can do doggy cam.
Doggy
I got
cam.
Hang on. All right, I gotta change the cam. Whoops, this cam over here to button. It's
Use
still
that button.
loading. It takes StreamYard a minute to see it.
Man, he looks just like you.
That dog is a.
Doggy
Oh.
cam.
Aw.
So cute.
So cute.
She is snoozing right now. She's enjoying her new bed and she's comfortable. And
We sure that's not Santa's helper?
What was that?
that was the OBS virtual cam, which I didn't have running, but for some reason it shows up as an input in StreamYard. So
Gotcha.
Your dog looks like Santa's helper laying on
I
the bed.
got 2 of these because Amazon had these on sale on Prime Day, so they were 50% off. So it's the metal beard, but most importantly, it's got
Disco
Benny.
Disco Benny.
Sweet.
So yeah, he's awesome. This is face.
What's the other side of his face look like? I can't remember. I've got one.
He's got like little. Hang on, let me turn his head around.
Oh, the starry eye thing, right?
Well, they have hearts in them.
There.
That's great.
That's awesome.
So yeah. Anyway, I am working on that set for funsies, and I got Unikitty in her glam outfit going there.
Stever with the Simpsons ref. Thank you very much.
And I've currently got Metalbeard's pants.
Well, we knew pants. We
Stand
knew
down, Gil.
pants,
Stand down.
pants would come into this.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working on Metalbeard. Har.
By the way, Ryan, are you feeling okay? We figure you went to Wretch, so
I had to go rescue a child from a spider that was threatening his life.
oh well, there you go. As spiders usually do. Ah! That's right. All right, Mr. Dano, what is going on, man? Oh, wait, there they are.
I just want to very quickly draw your attention to
Sweet.
how many extra pieces were in this. Look at this. This is bag number 1.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
You get a lot
like-
of extras.
Extra pieces just from bag number 1. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. Lots of
Free
extras.
Lego.
Lots of extras. Lots of cool. Hey, show me the Rock Ray. Is that the full line of figs from the series?
Yeah, I saw a minifigure collector asking if I had them all, so I do.
Sweet.
Nice.
It comes. Well, I have an extra chief, and then it comes with 2 docs for some reason. So,
Yeah.
I did actually review all these on my channel if you want to go watch that. But there you go.
Where to go, remind people where your channel is?
Wait, hold on. This way, Brian's Briggs.
Yes, Brian does a great show with some old sets. He has older sets, I think, than some of us have. He collects them and reviews them. And the Chief, I really think that Chief.
Yeah.
I want to know if Lego had actually planned for another run of that, because he only appeared in that collectible series. And if you look at his torso, it is silver in that corner to that turquoise arm. And I'm wondering if they were going to chrome that, because that was in the name of Days of Chrome, and they kind of went nah and just put the turquoise arm on him. So
yeah, I mean, it could be a reject from Wave 2, but this figure line came out in 2000, so it was after the first wave, like the first year. So it could have just been they wanted to put him in a set, but didn't get greenlit for Wave 2 and just threw him in here.
Yeah, but it looks like, and now I've taken that turquoise arm off and popped on a robot arm to that. So the silver then goes in. It looks really cool. So that's a great figure. That's one of my favorite figures from back in the day, even though I hated Rock Raiders.
You know, actually, the torsos from that entire line were really great. I picked up a ton of them, and they're really, really good.
Collects, loves, reviews, and dismembers. That is your new tagline for your show.
In a trunk, all over.
Everything. I do it all.
I have a bumper sticker that says that.
And a car that can hold at least 2 bodies in the trunk.
And there's a lot less blood than when Dana does it.
I'm telling you, 12 pints of blood is a lot.
Just
You
guts.
don't really think about it until you see it. Just say it.
Oh, all right. Any church members of mine joining the show? I don't know. I just pick them up. All right. What is going on, Dana?
So quick recap. I forget who had asked about it, but yes, these are Billy cases. I've got the wider ones, and then also the skinnier one that they connect in the top and the bottom with a little Y bracket, so that you can actually shove them into a corner. I'm on the fence of whether I should have gotten the white cabinets or the black cabinets, because the white cabinets show up more, detail, and so that if you've got black parts in there, they don't get washed away. But at the same time, I do have a lot of space stuff, so the black kind of works. So take that as you will.
I think I like the black ones for your space stuff.
Yeah, the thing about the black is that's not a base plate under the slave.
Yeah, as Mark had pointed out on an earlier conversation, it's a question of which shelf has a base plate and which shelf does not. And yeah, he just gave it away. The slave ones, that's just dust. But we won't get into why there's so much dust in here for another day. But I will also say that the Tifo
Bodies
are fantastic. In hindsight, might have wanted to get more of those instead. I know a lot of Lego collectors use those, and they are great. The only drawback on them is that the shelves are static. You can't raise and lower them depending on. So you got to build something inside them to give yourself some leveling if you want to do certain things. But they are great for modulars. You can see that my brew pub there, and then the space store down there below, they fit in there just perfect. So if you're storing modulars, that's a great place to do them. As far as what I've been going on this week, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I have been doing things with classic spacemen. So I have
yes, we see it.
Yeah. So there was the question of, are these my extras? No, they're not the extras. All of my space sets are up there on the shelves. And I've got a plan, some product I want to do. So I took off all the spacemen, and I want to go through them. And I know I've got some of them that have gotten some distressed chess pieces that I want to swap out with some other ones, and kind of create a list of once we get back into convention season again. I usually find good deals for trades for minifigures, and so maybe hopefully I can find some replacement for some of the reds and whites and yellows that have gotten a little faded. I don't want to go back and just replace them, like the yellows and the reds or the yellows and the whites, with ones that came from the new Lego Movie 2, because that's new. They're not quite the same, so I want to keep them consistent with the old ones. I missed that. Yeah, no, I didn't. Yes, as a matter of fact, so Trouble's bragging again last week. Chris changed it to Trouble's bragging, and so here I am again. Yes, Chris, I'm sorry. I have more space.
Yes, you do. That's okay. I love it.
So I'm going to be working on that and doing a little bit of that. And I've also been doing some, like so Gil had said, he's doing some stuff with his photography. And so I'm kind of upping my game a little bit on that. I've moved into doing some stuff with Futron this week. And I've got to figure out how I'm going to photograph the monorail. And my setup today does not allow for a set that big. So I've got a few days before to figure out what I'm going to do to take some pictures of that. So hopefully I'll be able to share something like that for later next week. But that's it for me for that. So Chris, if you want to switch me to my other screen, and we'll do this Old Gray Bricks of the Week.
Hello.
Hello.
Gray Bricks.
Hi, it's the Old Gray Set of the Week.
Hello.
Yeah, take your order.
Operators are standing by to take your order.
And then
Calling.
Wait, there's more.
Only 3 installments of 1995.
But wait. So this Old Gray Bricks Set of the Week is
the telephone.
918, the one-man spaceship.
Week.
So theme was Classic Space back from 1979. So this came out in the second year of Classic Space. A whopping 86 pieces. You got one red space minifigure. Retail price was a whole $7.49. So that puts you at basically the price range of a microfighter, or one of the mid-range or the low-end sets. Used price is going to run you $50 to $70 to find one. And I didn't realize it until recently that this set was not available in the U.S. So your best chance is probably to bricklink the printed tiles and then get everything else out of your inventory, because it's cheaper than trying to find it in the U.S. New in box, if you can find one, it's going to get you close to about $600, give or take.
Wow.
Yeah. Inbox prices is a definite crazy Lego money. However, there isn't any available on Bricklink at the moment for that type, but it is what it is. So why is it cool? Because it's the baby brother to the Space Cruiser and the Galaxy Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits nicely in that whole theme that we love those all so well. Classic color scheme from back in the day. You got your old gray, your blue, and your trans yellow. You can't go wrong with. Not cool that it was never released in the U.S., which I kind of talked about there for a second.
That's cool.
Take off, eh?
It's got mega swooshability. I think when I posted this, the most common thread that came up was, that these sets had so much, playtime getting swooshed around the living room and the backyard. So of all the 3 classic spaceships in that early era, this one being the smaller one was definitely very easy to be swooshed and played with. So you didn't have to use 2 hands or worry about dropping it and stuff like that. So that brings us to the end for this week's Old Gray Bricks of the Week, the one-man spaceship.
There's also something that was really cool about that is this is one of the few sets back then, at least that I remember having, that had the gray doors at the back there.
The little gray doors in the back?
Yeah.
Doesn't it have the oven controls as the controls in it or whatever?
No.
No? Does it have a computer in it?
No. So if you no computer inside, there's just a little steering wheel for his motion there. You did get the flip up canopy though, and you did get, like as Gail was saying, you got the little doors in the back.
You can fit like half a body in there.
I don't know. Let's see. Can we fit legs in there? Let's just see. No. Oh, wait. No, it gets. Oh, wait. Yep. All right. Yeah.
Wow.
There we go. We can fit half body in there. But again.
Wait. So Dana, you don't have some that gray brick behind the steering wheel doesn't have anything printed on it?
Oh, my bad. My bad. Let's pull a Brian here and take it apart. Yes, there is a classic piece that I'd forgotten was in here.
Oven controls, oven knobs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you do get the oven controls in there.
Don't be disrespecting me, man. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I've taken this set apart, so I couldn't have told you what was inside of it.
I want you all to be amazed, but I do not have.
You do not have this part.
I do not have one in any way, shape, or form from anything that had that.
That's horrible.
I mean, it's hard for people to imagine that I don't have that part, but I do not have that part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I guess that makes me the winner for the day because I have the set, which has the part.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it does for today.
And we learned that I can fit half a minifigure in the back trunk of this thing.
I'm going to have to figure out a way to get that set so I can have that part.
And welcome to chat, Mr. Barry. Good to have you here. Oh, a question has been posed. Anyone got the orange spaceman?
Yeah, I wonder who's got the orange spaceman.
Are we doing that? Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. I've got the true orange spaceman.
No, that is the canceled fake one. Anyways,
the OG.
Nice.
Is there any difference between the book Orange Spaceman and the bulk Spaceman?
No, they are the same.
Okay.
The fact that we were able to get these is because they put them in the book.
That's what I figured.
Though there's been some controversy, right? Because some people ordered the book thinking they're going to get it, and because on the Amazon it was pictured with a soft cover, which it didn't come with a soft cover. But then apparently some people who ordered the soft cover did get it, and some people who ordered the hard cover didn't. So
yep,
I don't know.
So I haven't
Amazon hooked that up bad.
Back to the hard stop thing again.
All I've heard is that the hardback, there is a library/teacher edition, which does not include the minifigure.
Oh.
And then I guess the softcover and the hardcover can both have the minifigure. But if you don't pay attention to which hardcover you order, and you don't order the one that comes with the minifigure, then you get the teacher edition or the library edition, which does not have the minifigure. So if you do plan to order the book, make sure you see which version you're ordering.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Hey, I might be out of the loop. Are those from Lugbulk or Bricks and Pieces?
Lugbulk.
Darn.
Yeah, no. As a matter of fact, I've had a couple people ask me what the element number was to try and look it up on Bricks and Pieces. But if I'm not mistaken, any of the DK books, the parts for those do not show up on Bricks and Pieces.
Huh.
In the same way that like collectible minifigure parts don't show up on Bricks and Pieces. And
we're just gonna have to rely on our friends to get at least one.
And BAM parts also, if they're exclusive to the Build a Minifigure pot or minifigure inside the stores, they won't show up on BAM either. I mean, Bricks and Pieces either.
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, what's up, man?
Small Paul.
Sonny just gave me a doggy hug.
Oh,
A doggy hug. I am fearful of what that actually was.
Oh, it's a boy and his dog. It's all good.
Yeah, like jumped up and just hugged me.
She's pretty cute.
Yes, it hugged you.
You
Yeah.
got a set.
What?
Why don't you go get it?
What?
One more thing before we move on from that classic set, and this is something that sticks out to me, is you saw in there it's got, it's a steering wheel, whatever. It's a steering wheel and a computer thing for something which was $8, but even in today's money, it's what, like 15, maybe 15, 16 bucks in today's currency. Now, man, you get like a $90 set, and you're lucky if you get like a single like computer tile, right?
right.
Valid point.
That's true.
Come on, man.
Right. Oh, by the way, get your Hinkle out. Mr. Hinkle has.
Where was I? He was in the house.
All right. He says that spaceman will appear somewhere else at some point. That's the reason you could order it It's absolutely not because it was in the book. If it was exclusive to the book, it would have been a no-go. So
that's a very good point.
That is good knowledge to be dropped from Mr. Hinkle. Thank you for dropping that knowledge. A mini flea. So that would be awesome if we can find that, because I can always use more.
Yeah,
so,
especially if he came with like a red spaceman to go along with it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm glad they gave we got the pink astronaut and all that kind of stuff, but classic red. I needed classic red in the new style. I made sure to hold that frame gingerly. Thank you, Mr. Hinkle. I broke it live a couple of weeks ago, so that's awesome. So that's good to know. It's good to know that we can possibly get that, so the masses won't diss the pictures when we say, "Look, we got these," and then all these angry, jealous posts of, "Well, I don't get those things." So anyway, I get it.
Well, you know, Lego people or collectors, they're fickle.
I do. Oh, what you got there, Small Paul? What you got? Oh, that's a great set, man.
Cool.
I got the Supernatural race car. Mimi got it for me.
That's awesome.
There's Jack, Spencer. I got Uncle Vaughn, and I also got a Shadow Walker, and Maxine Turbo comes in the game.
Nice. Sweet. That is a great set. Nice. You're going to have a bunch of fun with that. Jake built it. He enjoyed it so much. So the reason we have really all gathered here today is to mourn and lament and hope that one day we will be able to get back into the con season and rotation. And I dare say just about everyone here in this group has at least been to one convention, large, small, local, or national, regional, whatever lug. And I think maybe last week I really enjoyed our conversation about how the community benefits from lugs and how we we inspire one another at lugs. But then the convention is almost like next level and that kind of thing. Although some may have gone to conventions first and then found lugs and groups and stuff like that. But for the most of us, we probably found our local groups first and then started finding conventions. Although I may be wrong in that. And you may want to tell that as we go and talking about that. So anybody want to just talk about, when do you think we'll be back in the convention season? Anybody hazard a guess?
I'm going to say next year.
Depends what
next
country.
year sometime.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think all bets are off.
I agree.
Comes from the guy who's trying to open a park, and
I'm not trying to do anything. I just sort Lego at work all day.
Ryan later, he said.
I saw on Instagram that somebody up in Ohio that there was a little small convention that somebody did. I wouldn't even call it a convention. It was more like a public display for a lug. And they did. It was like small attendance. Social distancing, keeping that all in the play. So that works on a small scale. But when you're talking about conventions that have an attendance of 500-600 people in a day, even large, or a couple thousand people in a day, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Sounds like a super spreader event.
Yeah. In fact, there was it a Brick Universe or one of those that actually had a COVID outbreak because of it or out of it. I believe right at the beginning of the pandemic. I think there was one.
It's possible.
I think it was the one in North Carolina that made the news.
It made the news.
As part of my job, I'm in tourism. I need to sort of stay in contact with like public health people up here and about sort of what their plans are for next year. And a lot of that is hotels. A lot of that's convention space, right? So what they're telling me now is that here, apparently, at least here in Canada and in this province, probably the sort of mass gathering events of all sorts, no matter what, they're going to start to roll out basically within about a month and a half after the first public distribution of vaccine. and it's at least at the beginning stages. They're trying to figure out the legality of basically having proof of vaccination as part of your attendance ticket. So, that's probably, at least at the beginning, how it's going to go here for no matter what, right? But
your papers. Show me your papers.
That's just it.
Sign me up.
I'm pretty sure to give people some pause that they had to sign essentially a certified NDA that says you've had a vaccination and you're clear, under penalty of being sued by every other person coming to the convention and having contact with
convention.
With that, though, keep in mind that you're also signing. Probably there's going to be a waiver. Everybody signs a waiver,
right there.
Right. So this is what I mean is that at the beginning, the long and the short of this is, like, again, it depends on the country, depends on the different climates in the country, not geographic, but sort of like social, political climates and stuff. There's going to be so many restrictions and rules in place at the beginning for these things. So many people who organize these things may say, forget it, man. We're not going to bother until we can do something that is not treading these gray waters. And, my impression is that, in talking to some of this other company that we own who's based out of Colorado, for them, when they were sitting in on some of these meetings, they're like, yeah, no, man, that ain't going to fly here. Because the legality in the States, the privacy concerns and all that stuff, and also the ability down there that you can be legal, like Rich was saying, you can actually be legally held accountable a lot easier there than it is here. It's going to be, like, honestly, like you guys were saying in the beginning, like, I think for the US, man, it's I don't even know if next year is going to happen, honestly. I don't know.
So I just traveled up to Vermont and New York, which have much stricter rules for out-of-state people. And so for me to get a hotel reservation, I had to have a negative COVID test within 3 days.
Yeah.
And so for me to stay in Vermont, which I did, both of us went and got the instant test right before we got in the car, the day afternoon before we got in the car to drive up there, so that we could get to Vermont and be like, okay, here's our, and they would let us come in. So.
Yeah.
Well, makes me glad I went to Maryland, to Ocean City.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all I can say is that for somebody who has been part of the convention creation process for Lego, adult fans of Lego, since the beginning, and not missing a single year of a convention ever for any reason, I am deathly in withdrawals for a convention whatsoever.
Yeah, can you imagine Abner Finley right now? Abner is like, Abner is always on a plane going to a convention, and I bet he's not been on a plane in 8 months. And maybe I should pop Abner a text and say, "Hey man, or a message and say, dude, you okay?"
Yeah, are you okay? You going through withdrawals? I'm certainly.
He may be stuck on a plane somewhere.
Or he might actually go, you know what? I might open a Lego set and build it. That would be the breaking point for Abner, I think, if he actually was started to build.
If he did that.
Or he helped spread it.
Somebody asked you, did anyone ask you for your results when you were traveling?
So when I went to check in, I said that I had it available, and they did not require me to show it, but I did show it. And so they kind of leave it up to the individual hotels and bed and breakfast to enforce it. And so the person that I talked to was like, well, I kind of feel like it's a violation of your HIPAA, so I don't require it. But officially, the state of Vermont does require it. So it's entirely possible. We didn't know until we checked in if it was going to be enforced or not.
So you could sneeze in your hand and shake the guy's hand and how you doing, man? Good to see you. And
I don't think they would have shook my hand.
Mr. Hinkle brings up a good point because there are people whose livelihoods depends on the regularity of conventions, and there are a lot of folks who are hurting now. And I've tried to the first one especially, Brick World did the virtual con. Did any of y'all do the virtual con convention? It was just $5, and I shot them $5, and I watched it. And mostly that was hope this helps you. Hope you survive and things like that. So there are a lot of folks who are dependent on those conventions to come back. Yes.
All I can say is it's not as much fun
Bricks
to
and
book
beer.
Kevin Hinkle virtually as it is to do in person.
Well, what you guys do in after hours is not my business. But anyway, what were you saying, Mark? Mark, what were you talking about?
Yeah.
I did the Bricks and Beer virtual con. The same weekend as BrickCon, Andrew Lee and his crew from Bricks and Beer, another YouTube show, check it out. On his Discord, he did a unofficial after hours for BrickCon because all those guys usually go to BrickCon when there's BrickCon. So we had an unofficial Bricks and Beer, unofficial BrickCon after hours on the Discord that we did a video chat and built stuff and talked and hung out and stuff. And it was really fun. It was good to, it's the first I've talked to most of those guys since about 2016 was the last time I went to BrickCon. So it was good to catch up with those guys on video. And we just sort of hung out a lot like we're doing now, just not on public YouTube, but
And that brings up a point. There could be a little bit of positivity in some way that the lack of conventions has kind of forced us into doing more things like this, and that we probably wouldn't have done before. And I see Dana almost every day on the internet, or Mark and everything, but like Gil and I, we didn't really talk regularly. We hadn't talked regularly for a long time, but this is actually kind of opening up those communication lines, and they'll probably stay open as long as we're diligent about doing this. And Zoom meetings, like our club meets every week on a Zoom meeting. It's whether you want to come or not is up to you, but that actually in some ways is a little more communication, but it is not as awesome as the face-to-face, obviously, and being in the convention hall, displaying your stuff and everything. So here's a question.
It is not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
There's a level of intensity from a virtual meeting to a real WUG meeting to a convention. They're orders of magnitude greater than each other.
Oh yeah.
In that order.
Yeah. We want to come back and then go hover at Kevin's booth doing nothing. That sounds fun. Yeah. There's that level of just hanging out, going out, hanging out afterwards, and getting dinner with somebody, sitting down with them, and really eyeballing that person and really getting to know who they are. And I miss it bad, even though I'd gotten to where I could really only do one show away from town, and then maybe one or two shows in town. They were still kind of the driving factor for some of the builds that I did, because you were building for your buds to hang out with your buds and everything. And I miss that greatly. Dougie, has that affected your building any, knowing that you may not be going to a con anytime soon?
It's affected my decision to break all this stuff down, because I've been building it up for a while, thinking, hey, this year I'm probably going to go to, it's like, it's all out the window. But it's like, it's like, it totally is. Because like, that's like for building anything larger than the normal little Cracker Jack stuff, size I build, because I'm not a big builder. So I kind of force myself, hey, build something a bit bigger, maybe go to hang out at, Bricks in the 6 or whatever this year. It could be a good time. Now that's datch, it's like, light it up, I don't, it's all like, it totally was driving me to do more than I usually would. And,
by the way, side note to Mr. Hinkle, I had lunch at Waffle House today. So go ahead. All right.
All I know is that with the increased time, I've been able to do a few more projects in preparation for whenever the next one is. and I could slow down a little bit. Now I'm at full stop basically because of my move, but with the extended time frame now, I was able to do a really thorough job on my Ghostbusters headquarters, and I basically rebuilt one of my townhouses, the Green Grocer variant that I had that needed some extra work put to it. So knowing that I have more time to do it and I have to keep things together for the next show, that's kind of annoying. But at least I had more time to actually work on some things and not feel rushed to get it done.
Do you think there's going to be an increased amount of mocks displayed at when the shows come back?
Yes, I think that's true.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know, because sometimes after I have, hey, there's my kiddo, he's logged in on the side there for Zoom Junior. I have noticed that on occasion, you go to a convention and it seems like not everybody's really bringing a lot of mocks; they're just coming to hang out, and the convention can kind of suffer from that if not everybody's bringing their big gun stuff. And so maybe with all this build time, folks have put some extra stuff together, and I got a feeling that it'll be a challenge to be able to place everything everybody's bringing.
Yeah,
but it's not only the extra time, but man, like the pent up demand for everything, social, everything creative, everything. It's like a kettle about to explode, right? Like, I mean, like for us, you know, we haven't, like, everything for us at our work has been canceled, but because, you know, borders are closed, whatever. For next year, the bookings are off the charts. It's because, and the longer we go into this, the more there is, because people are like, once this is over, everything I was on the fence about, I'm in. You ask me, I'm in, right? And I mean, that's how I feel too. Like, I mean, I feel like all the stuff before I was like, I'm too tired doing this. Yeah, I'm in, like, because we're all so starved for it, right? So yeah, that first full convention back. I mean, it's gonna make Animal House look like the Smurfs. Like, it's gonna be crazy, man.
Wow,
crazy.
How you went from Animal House to the Smurfs explains so much about you, Gil. Yeah, I mean, I can see. I mean, I'm gonna be geared up to go and excited about it. Do you think? I mean, I guess maybe it's going to be slow go. Even when they start opening it, there'll still be the fear of the virus around. The crowds might be light. I just wonder if some of the guys are going to just say the risk is too much. We're not going to get the crowd to support this, and might axe them. I guess I don't know. I just worry about that. I mean, I know the big ones will survive. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean that kind of you're kind of covering a cross section of the entire economy globally. I mean, not just here in the U.S., but globally. I mean, some conventions, you know, they've got their deposits back because most of the things had to cancel. So it's just kind of a pause. It's just a question of whether, you know, the people who make those conventions their livelihood are able to survive without them for the length of time. The conventions will come back. I mean, if they've got their infrastructure in place. I mean, I know like the comic convention and stuff like that. Those things, they're not going to hurt.
No.
Most of them are corporate owned. Most of the Lego conventions now become, in some way, shape, or form, an entity in itself. So they'll come back. But I think that the real question is like the people like Kevin, as he pointed out, and the people like Abby Dabbles that we're fond and dear of. It's those community members that are probably struggling as to whether they may have to ditch what they're doing or reinvent themselves, or who knows what. Those are the ones I'm more concerned about.
Yeah. And I encourage you, if you do not buy from independent and artists and things like Abby Dabbles or Mr. Hinkle Draws, you know what? When they put something up, a sticker or a drawing or a little set, if you're thinking of dropping some cash, then drop some. They're part. I just said part. They are part of your family. They are part of your Lego family, and if you can support them, you have the opportunity. You want to buy a little something or Christmas stuff or whatever. then support those folks to help them survive through hard times. If you're going to spend your money, spend it on the independent artist and the independent producer of fan stuff. So you bet, Mr. Hinkle, we're here for you. You can actually support folks like that through Patreon, and I do suggest you do that. I mean, $2, $3, $4, $5 a month, you can help those folks limp through these times and everything. But, you know, for me, I don't know about for you, for me, going to the convention is you do get the little bit of love for the stuff you build, and you can also be inspired by that and go and see how somebody has tangibly built something and stuff. For you guys being and going to a convention, how has it changed your Lego building when you've been able to go? Let me see. Dana, you're a little bit newer to some of this than some of us are. Yep. Tell us what going to a convention means.
So while conventions in general I'm not new to, because I've been a comic book nerd for 20 plus years. Oh, let's not do the math there. But anyway, so I actually got to go to Brick Fair, Alabama before I found the lug, before I even knew there was a thing called a lug.
You're one of those.
Yeah, I was one of those guys where I went to a con first because I was looking I was looking for something to do that was Lego related, saw it advertised, dragged my wife, God bless her, to come with me and geek out with me for a day. And I saw the ships that some guy built that were huge spaceships in big white thrusters, just blew my mind. Not to mention all the other stuff I saw, and the amount of mechs I saw was staggering. And I came home and I was like, I want to do this. I want to be more involved. I want to go and do that kind of stuff. It really cranked up my creative juices, my desire to be back into the hobby and to go out and seek others who felt the same way I did. And then I found the lug, and then it was downhill from there, or uphill, however you want to look at it.
Well, the first convention that was born out of this whole era was based on the idea that as a lug, we were doing well with 8 to 10 people showing up every month, but we wanted to interact with what we knew were some other people around the country. So it was more of a love of sharing what we were doing here with anybody else who wanted to come visit and display. So that whole sharing the love of building was born into cons from the very beginning. That was baked in.
Yeah. And I will say that after I went as a guest or just as a general attendee the first year, and then found the lug the following year, and then again came out and spent the weekend, only showed up on Friday, not knowing that I should have showed up on Thursday, because the whole Lego Con convention is a completely different animal than normal conventions. The whole public display versus a members only kind of thing was new for me. But I will say that after that first year of being an attendee or a displayer, exploded even more energy into my creativity and wanting to do it, and interacting and talking with other builders, people who the first year I met, who I still talk to on a regular basis, that are not in my lug, but in other areas of the country, who I found and reached a kindred spirit for whatever it was involved with Lego, not just space, but town or mechs, or fellow ambassadors that have picked up friendships with. And now I'm to the point where now when the second year that I went back as a displayer, I actually had other AFOLs coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I've noticed a change from your builds from last year to this year, and I want to compliment you on the your building techniques or your changes or things you're doing." So I was like, yeah, this is, it was like every year I go back, it becomes better and better and greater, that it kills me when I can't go, and I want to do more.
Yeah. So and go ahead.
Yeah, so Dana and I actually started going pretty much about the same time. I drove over to Alabama with Andrew from our club just to go for one day and see what a convention looked like. And I was actually looking for some specific parts. But I was just blown away at the complexity and the level of detail that I saw in the displays. And I was super excited to actually like lay my eyes on minifigures that I'd never personally seen before. And all the vendors were there just walking around and seeing some of the third party stuff. It was very exciting. And it definitely made me want to go back and made me want to be an exhibitor at some point. And it also nudged me to say, I need to get better. I need to, I'm an architecture modular guy, and I want to do more detail. I want to sort of, try to elevate my work.
Build
and then,
space.
yeah, you've already got all the big ships. It's already, it's a tough, it's intimidating.
Oh, that is one of the drawbacks, is that you see some stuff like Martin Harris in Alabama, and Mark and Steven Erickson out of the lower Georgia area. Some stuff that they put together, you're like, I could never do this. This is amazing, and it is intimidating. It is huge intimidating.
But you can. You just have to.
And it took it. And I think we've talked about this before. It's hard to wrap in your brain that these guys didn't build this stuff in a month, or sometimes they didn't build it in a year, or they didn't even have the parts for 5-6 years until they could reach a point where they could build something that big. So it is overwhelming, though, very overwhelming.
Yeah, I like to justify being outclassed by architecture, like from Doug Foreman. If you've seen Doug Foreman stuff, will blow you away.
Wait, is he the Sausage King? No, that's Abe Froman. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Abe Froman.
Abe Froman.
But
Doug Foreman, the Mad Hatter. You should look him up on various social media stuff. He builds the most vividly realistic stuff in modern stuff, in modern architecture. Not even neoclassic. It's mid-century. What am I looking for? The
mid-century modern.
Yeah, mid-century modern. There's a special like the Miami stuff.
Oh, Art Deco. Art Deco. He builds Art Deco like you wouldn't believe. I've probably saved every one of his buildings because I have an entire Pinterest where I save like Art Deco stuff. So I may not know which ones are his off the top of my head, but I've seen like there's a pink hotel that somebody did that's amazing. So I'm sure I've seen his work because the Tiki Bar, things like that. It's just fantastic stuff. I have to justify what I do as, okay, his minifigs may live on the outside of the building, but they don't live inside. It's great stuff. It's made for minifig scale, but you can't get the level of detail. When you get the level of detail that he gets, he sacrifices playability. Right. It's just over. I'm probably more like him in that I care a lot more about exteriors than I do about interiors. So, but all of my buildings have fronts and backs. Like they're finished in the front and the back. But the other point I want to come back around to is this: is that not only was the convention a blast and meeting all kinds of people, from around the country who shared interest in techniques and it's really inspirational as well. But the second and the third time I went, Dana was my roommate, and so we shared a hotel room. And we talked until 2 a.m. the first night, and at one point, one of us was like, "We probably should get some sleep." I would count him as a close friend, and that was in many ways the beginning. And almost every day, I message Dana, either text or Facebook Messenger, and so. I know some of you other elderly builders here on Old Gray Bricks, you've got friendships that go back much further. But there's a couple guys that I only ever see at Brick Fair, but they come every year. And so when you see them again, it's like, hey, you beat me at the beanbag toss last year. But it definitely, even if I didn't have anything new to show, I can imagine wanting to go just to see friends and pal around and have that social dimension and share the interest and see what's the newest thing that people are bringing, and also just catch up with people that you've gotten to know, like Abby Dabbies. I'm friends with them on Facebook, and we chat every once in a while about non-Lego stuff sometimes, and it's nice.
I know that my wife tries to convince me not to bring anything. My root beer is peach country apple peach hard cider.
Sure. Kevin, that's the quote right there.
Cheryl, who talked super late after his question. You think we'll be friends forever, right?
Chris is my friend forever.
That got me.
That Kevin's story reminds me of this one time. I think I shared this in my BritCon 2016 keynote. Bruce Lowell stayed over at my house one night before a convention, and we were like 20 or 21 years old, and we were up way too late that night, literally throwing glow-in-the-dark Lego pieces at each other like little schoolgirls. It was really hilarious. It was hilariously immature and sad.
Maybe want to tweak that metaphor there, maybe. I don't know.
It's fine. Just... But like we paid for it. The next day we arrived at BritCon 2004, and like I think I fell asleep on the floor because we were just so tired, and I was just laying in the middle of the con when it was at a mall, and I think someone took a photo of me, but I've never seen it, which is good. That's good.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that I would invite back to come stay with me, that have come stayed with me before. Brahms come to my house and stayed. He paid for it because he's allergic to cats. Tim Courtney's come and stayed with me a couple times. A couple other people.
And that's actually like, for me, like I've been to the one con down there, and I've been to a couple up here. But the ones up here have only been day trips. But the one, in Virginia, whatever, was like the first sort of like overnight one. And like, man, I remember when I got to the airport, like, like Mark and Chris and I and some of the other guys, we've been talking for like years at this point. It was like the first time we were all getting together at the same time. Guys I've never seen before. We're like, pick me up at the airport. It's all hugs. Like, it's like we stormed the beach in Normandy, right? It's like, and then the next 3 days, that's just what it was like. It was just like, it's like you've literally gone to war with these people, right?
You're in a crew.
War is called Public Day.
Veteran war and Lego conventions.
That's right. And then the one thing too that about the convention experience, and like it's not just conventions, but I find this, if you had buddies you went away with to visit at the university for the weekend and whatever. One of the great things at all these types of things is exhaustion. Because the more tired you get, the more hilarious everything is. Like, it's priceless. Like, by the end of the weekend, you are ready. Like, you're literally ready to drop. But I mean, it's just like you're drunk all the time, right? Now, mind you, some people are as well as being exhausted. Go for it. That's your thing. But I mean, like, yeah, that's the part that I miss, is that sort of like, it's literally like something you're enduring together, which is awesome at the same time, but it's killing you at the same time too, which makes it so much fun, right? So yeah,
that's one of the reasons that I like Brick Fair, Alabama, is that it happens Martin Luther King Day weekend. Yeah. And working for a bank, I get Mondays off, so I can come home
and recuperate.
Yeah. Because as much as what Ryan was saying, just up late like a couple of schoolgirls, that's exactly what happened with me and Matthew. And then the next year, Matthew's partner came with him, so they shared a room. So I needed to cut my expenses. So I wound up rooming with Chris and Bazoom Jr. And we were up until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, like a couple of girls chit-chatting about this and that other. So yeah, that for me, as much as I like for my wife to come with me, I actually enjoy being able to room with another AFOL, because we chit chat and talk about this, that, and the other. the convention doesn't end when the convention closes because we're still doing stuff well into the late in the night. So
I had the same experience with my buddy Chris. Going to Brick Fair, Alabama was our first. Not that Chris, another Chris, younger Chris.
Other Chris.
Yeah, other Chris. Like we had both been huge Lego fans growing up. Ever since we were like 3, we lived next door. We were best buddies. Always loved Legos. And so rather than take my fiance, I was like,
yeah, just let the S go. Let the S go. Go ahead, Brian.
I'll say Legos until I die. You won't take that away from me. Legos.
You're gonna die on that hill.
I will. I truly will, and I have before. Anyways, yeah. So like, oh no, I'm ready for the graphic. I knew as soon as he zoomed in, something was coming. But yeah, so like that was our first experience going to a convention, and so I took my buddy and we stayed at some, crappy Airbnb, just sleeping in somebody's loft and just talking about all the insane things we saw, like this dude walking around in a blue spaceman suit, some crazy old guy, and all those massive white and blue ships. Yeah, it was super cool. So that got us into like this community actually here, and just that was the beginning of that, and it was super cool.
And then I ratted your friend out to his mom by accident. That was
Yep. Hey, your son's here.
I said, "Hey, I saw your son in Alabama at a convention." She was like, "He's where?"
Yeah, small world.
Nowhere. I'm kidding. I mean, I can go. I'll let Sandlin weigh in on this. I mean, he and I have done them since, and Rich, you have too. Brom was mentioning he's been at since 2000 when they started.
Yep.
Mark, I'll let Mark weigh in on this. It's to me, it's deep into the culture of who you are as an adult fan of Lego, but it's also deep into what actually builds the connection and bond you have with other Lego fans. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I usually like to tell the little anecdote about when we went to Brickfest 2006. That was the one that
was the best one.
2006 was a great year. That's the one that Gil went to as well. But we arrived and we were walking in the convention hall, and the tables were out and people were starting to set up. And this extremely polite, very tall Englishman walks up to me and says, "Hello, I'm Lego Loverman." And I was like, "Hi, Loverman?" And he's like, very, very nice and everything. And I was like, "Show me what you built." And he takes me over to the table and he shows me these little guys. And I'm like, Peter Reed, yes. But that's the thing, is that I didn't know what he looked like because I'd only seen his little turtle things and other things he's built on Flickr. I hadn't seen a picture of his face, and I didn't remember that his handle on Flickr was Lego Loverman. Like, he had it on his shirt. It said Lego Loverman. And I was just like, I just didn't know until he took me over and showed me like the little things that he built. And then I was like, aha. And then from there on out, it was, it was fine. It was like, okay, you're the guy who builds the things.
Holy
and
crap!
Yeah, he was super nice. He was a very nice guy, and we had a great time that weekend. But yeah, it's sometimes you'll bump into people and kind of maybe don't recognize their name, or they might have their handle printed on their badge or something like that. But as soon as you see the build, that's when it's like, oh, okay, you built this thing, and like, something you've admired on photos online for a while. And that's kind of that sort of fun sort of light bulb moment when you put it together, like who someone is. So
that actually happened to me with Chris Giddens. I went home and I was looking at the Ultimate Lego book, and they had one of his giant starships in there, and I was like, I met this guy. And then I found out that he was the guy that designed the one of the sets from back in the day that I always wanted as a kid. Both of y'all, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You too, Mark? Yeah, both of y'all. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I had no idea, and just saw your builds there, and it was like, it changed my life. I was a new man.
So imagine walking into a lug meeting and having no clue, and having them both pull out Moonbase plates, and you're like, wait a minute, who are you guys?
Just normal dudes. That's who we are. So
Oh, you can say that all day long.
Yeah, whatever.
The thing,
well, you know,
the thing I'll say about-
Mark's pretty funny. I can remember meeting Pete Reed as well, and me being extremely Southern in my talk, and him being extremely British in his talk. And there was 20 minutes of noises coming from both of us at each other and not understanding a word. And we were speaking English, but not understanding a word. What it was, we're like, we gotta slow down. What? You know, slow it down. What? You know, so super nice guy. And I have tried to talk to him about getting on the show. He's in a little bit of a Lego funk, so we need to be after Pete to get him back in here. Yes, Jeff, I am from the South. Thank you very much.
Oh, what?
What are you talking about?
I assume he's the guy that designed the exosuit based off the turtle.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I have that set and it's amazing.
He also and I forget the other guy's name off the top of my head. Did the space book? If you've ever seen that.
I don't. Maybe.
Let
Probably.
me go to the library a second. Hang on.
I was gonna say I'm sure I've seen it.
It's the big Lego space book, isn't it?
There it is.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that actually. I was thinking of the Cult of
It's
Lego that had
fantastic. It's really, really
Spaceman
good.
on it.
Tim
Nice.
Goddard. Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Okay, yeah, I'll pick it up.
Yeah, it's a really
Thanks,
good.
man.
It's good. Mine's already in storage right now.
I remember about Mark is not so much that the space set that got mass produced, but I came to a lug meeting once and he had his the 5-piece what's the name of it?
Voltron?
The Voltron that breaks apart into 5 things, and I was like, "You made that?" Like, holy cow, that looks really complicated.
What you want to know? What's funny about that Voltron is Mark may have been able to make one or he was going to make it about the size of the one that Lego produced. Now this is like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that. Yeah. And so then I start razzing him. I'm like, "You're not going to make it minifig scale?" He's like, "I don't want to." No. You mean you're not going to? I razzed him for a month to make it minifig scale, and he did. Of course, then the thing can't lift its arm. It's like, I mean, it's expertly built. It transforms into the Lions, but it added like 40 layers of complexity and a search for an orange helmet back in those days for him. And then I'm like, well, if he'd have made that one, maybe they would have made that into a set. So it's my fault you didn't do it. But anyway, it was great.
But you know what, Chris? That's a valid point. Of not just lug events and conventions as well, but that creative juice that you share amongst your other AFOLs to it starts out as a joke, and the next thing you know, you're like, okay, now I got to go build that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you think, oh no, I don't want to build that. I could never build that. And then all it takes is just some joker saying, oh no, you need to build that, and you're like, damn it, now I need to build that.
Yeah, right.
You know, I resisted trying to build steampunk for the longest time, and then a couple conventions went by, and I saw some really great steampunk stuff. I was like, okay, now I got to do that. Now I have to do that because it's just too good not to. And when I started doing it, people started stopping. I was like, wow, I missed this train, didn't I?
But you know what, though? It all comes back around.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it will.
Yeah, everything I've seen that has stopped being built, 4 years later, somebody starts building it again. I mean, Moonbase was practically dead until we started doing it in Alabama, and the next thing you know, it revitalized itself again. So,
That's right.
Yeah, Rocky Dykes is the man for steampunk, and he stopped being his thing for a while. He just thought, well, I'm just not interested in doing that right now. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's right. That's one of the things I think. I mean, for me as a principal, iron sharpens iron. That's just the principle of hanging out with your friends and being challenged by them. Going to a convention, you can see the pretty pictures online that people take, and in deference to my Canadian friend here, those are fantastic. I love to see them, but so you can get your hands on a mock to see, okay, does this really hold together so you can play with it, or do you breathe on it and the stuff falls apart? Which is fine.
Can I pick that up and swoosh it?
Again, but if you get the opportunity not just to talk to the builder, but actually for them to say, "Hey, let me show you how," and they crack it open and show you how they broke the Lego rule but got something to work, or came up with a technique or something like that, and you're like, whoa, that's awesome.
Hey, Chris, I want to Fredo that.
You want to Fredo that?
I want to Fredo that.
What does that mean?
Never heard that?
No, but I think
Handle it roughly.
Ryan wants to tell us what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Hang on. I want to know how Rich knows this.
Because Fredo used to be part of our lug.
Which
Fredo
log?
would come every month and pick up something of Dan Rubin's, and it would just fall apart in his hand.
Okay, so I guess I know him from after that phase because he was working when I was at the Legoland California model shop. Fredo was one of my coworkers, and he was semi-notorious for walking by people's desks and touching things on people's desks that he shouldn't be, some of which were intended to be models for display in Legolands later, and breaking them.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't realize this was a thing he brought with him.
Oh yeah, he brought that and developed it to expert quality at our lug, at Wamalug.
Okay, but how many of you have carried Fredo on your shoulders?
Just you, man.
Metaphorically?
Oh my gosh.
I've never had Fredo on my shoulders. Come
Why
on.
is there not a song like Fredo, Fredo, Fredo? You brace the leg.
I sing that.
Fredo. That's a Yiddish thing.
Yeah, it's not like from Fiddler on the Roof or something?
Something like
Yeah.
All right.
What about
so-
Frago on my shoulder makes me happy?
Happy.
Okay, so maybe we should go around because we could probably actually. And the best thing about a convention is the stories you bring home that you think. I'm going to tell one that I did to Mark on purpose. Names will be spared to preserve the innocent, but there was one member of the Lego community who had body odor issues. Let's just say that. Now, when you get nerds together, you're going to have those issues, but this one was kind of to the extreme. When I lived in another state, this person actually came to my house, the first Lego fan I'd ever actually met outside of it, and I noticed the issue when he walked in the door. And then as he hung around, you get nose blind, right? But my wife then comes home from work and she comes in and she goes, come here. And and she's like, did you shower today? I'm like, it's not me, it's him, right? So this issue is getting, watered the eye. Anyway, so then we go to Brick Fair, Brickfest, DC, George Mason University, August. The 1st of August. It is sweltering hot.
It's hot.
And I have my Ford Explorer, and it's one of the things you do at the convention is say, hey, who wants to go to lunch? And so it was me and Sandlin and this other gentleman, right? And so we pile in my Explorer, and we're driving around, and I don't know why I'm thinking. I said, hey, I gotta go get something in my room, and I pull the car up to a little parking spot. I turn the engine off and I leave Mark and this other gentleman in my Explorer for about 10 minutes. On purpose. And I get in there and Sandlin, his eyes are watering. The onions were in bloom that day, and it was it was the best. He had dead.
That's cruel.
It was so
That's
cruel.
Totally cruel.
And the first thing I think he said when I got in the car was, "Dude, I'm gonna kill you. I am just gonna." That was not even funny. And the other person is oblivious to to everything. Anyway, it was great. But you carry those stories with you. That helps you reconnect. I
think his first name starts with F.
I don't think
no names.
I don't think I said that many words, Chris. It was really more like a dude.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
And I did not crack a window either. Just saying. So no. That's
more compassion for the dogs than you did for Sandlin. Huh?
The individual is a very nice guy. I don't know what the issue is, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead if you've got a pretty funny story to regale us with. And in fact, the side chat has been from Stever about one of his events that Bill was involved in. Just an awesome moment, or maybe just like an inspiring moment, or something that that makes conventions the thing you just are craving right now?
So for me, because I don't do just Lego conventions, I do Dragon Con, comic book stuff at the same time. I make costumes and stuff like that. So the second year, or I guess maybe then the first year I displayed it at Brick Fair, Alabama, I had brought my Bendy Spaceman costume with me, and Chris was doing a thing in the morning with some special need kids. And so he said, "Hey, do you mind coming down in your costume to see the kids while we're doing this private tour through the thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, you twist my arm." So I go down, hanging out. The kids were more enthused about the Lego sets than me, so that was cool. A side note in this segue is that a guy walked up to me and said, "Hey, hi Dana, my name is Abner," and I'm like, "Hi Abner, nice to meet you," and didn't click for like 6 weeks later until I was online. I'm like, "Oh, that was Abner." But so we're done with this little thing in the morning, and it was like maybe 15, 20 minutes tops. I don't even think it was that. And I'm getting ready to walk back up to the room to change out of my costume and come back down for the day. And a lady at the door stops me and she's like, "Do you mind coming outside? Because it's like, there are like 200 people in the lobby waiting to get in. Would you come out for a few minutes?" And I'm like, "Sure." I walked out and I spent the next hour taking pictures with literally everyone in this queue of people outside the convention before the doors opened to come into the show. And I've gotten people who come up to me who've contacted me online and said, "I was there. I remember that. You were the start of my day." And that right there was just a great experience to combine two of my passions at the same time. And it was it was great. And you can't get that at a small show. You need a convention to be able to do that kind of thing. So that's me. That was one of my favorite moments from Brick Fair.
Sweet. All right. Anybody else got a story they want to tell?
Yeah, actually, I think there's one that maybe like that I don't think I have shared. It might be none of you, Chris and Mark, yet.
Let me get the PG-13 up first. Anybody?
Here comes
This one involves surprisingly little bodily movements, fluids, or noises, or other assorted things involved with states of undress. So it's good.
I can click this right here.
Just telling you, it's going to be above board mostly. We had that one night where we did the infamous Megaforce viewing, right? All went back. We did that, lots of stuff. That's the one where Stever disappeared behind the couch with a bottle of vodka, woke up with pepperoni on his face, and then we hauled him back like softwood lumber to the room. That we've heard like a million times, right? And stuff. But there was another part of the convention at that, or part of the sort of group that we knew and hang out with before, and they decided actually, we don't want to hang out at the hotel. We want to go to the pub. Okay, cool. And this was like Palmer, Gary, bunch of these, a few of the other guys, and one of the guys who was there, and I think I'm going to keep his name quiet for the moment, but one of the guys there, and through the whole thing, he showed up with this giant Cat in the Hat felt hat. The thing's like 3 feet tall, different colors. Like, it was the weirdest looking thing. It's like, yeah, this guy's homeless. Like, you're sure, right? So he's wearing this thing around the whole time and everything else. And, and he was a fun guy, and he's kind of acting goofy and all this kind of stuff. So he decides, okay, he's not going to do Megaforce. He's going to go with the pub. Okay, fine. So the next morning, we all still show up for the convention. An okay time, 9-ish, whatever. A little blurry-eyed, maybe not Stever, but everyone else is there. And but we're doing not too bad. But the whole pub side of it, like, these guys were MIA. Like, there was like no sign of them, right? So I guess we found out the next day that they went to this thing, they had some drinks. It started getting rolling. It got out of control. It broke out into some sort of like crazy dance party sing-along thing that had people like falling over. Someone got knocked unconscious at one point, right? And apparently at one point, I guess the pub just said, that's it, you're all out, right? And turfed them all out on the road. And most of them don't even remember from that point on back to the hotel. This is all rolling out, about 4 o'clock the next day when they're all up. And some of them are retelling the tale and stuff. I remember talking to this one guy. It's like, hey man, what happened? It's like, what's like, what went on with that thing? He's like, and I just remember him saying, I don't know, man. But all I remember is after my 4th beer, I had the hat, and the hat's gone. That's his. He's like, and I swear, I look into his eye, and I'm about to laugh, and I see the welling of the tears around his eyes. And the hat is gone.
The head is gone.
So yeah, one day I thought if I ever meet up with one of these guys, like maybe if Palmer's ever back in here, if he remembers, I don't know if he would or not. John seems to block out stuff that happens more than 45 minutes ago. So yeah, it'd be interesting to find out the full story.
No. This is, dude, we want you to go to conventions, but anyway, that's awesome. Anybody else ever a tale to regale from your days at the convention? No.
I've got a few to choose from, but because 2006 keeps getting mentioned in this chat, I'm going to go with one of those in particular. That was the year that I got engaged and married, and I financially wasn't going to be able to swing a con, and a whole bunch of you clowns and a bunch of other guys pooled money together to make sure I could get to that convention. And I will never forget that, because if I'd missed that con, I would have missed everything you're talking about. And I'd probably still be kicking myself today, but that was a really special one for me.
Yeah.
That's right. And your plane was delayed. You were like really late. I remember you came in, we were all together, and you were falling asleep in the bed. You're like,
I'm pretty sure it was the first red eye I'd ever taken in my life, because it was the cheapest flight that we could get. And I arrived like, I don't know, 9 or 10 or something in the morning, something ridiculous. But like the con was already in full swing. You guys were already up and about. And I walked in with a suitcase like, I don't know where I am. I think Bryce found me wandering around outside the hotel or something. It was a really strange experience.
And I can't remember, you'd actually fallen asleep during the Megaforce viewing, and you're kind of like, lynched over like that. And someone kept on popping 1-by-1 rounds down the front of your shirt to see how many we could get down there before you woke up.
That sounds vaguely familiar. I know I missed like the first part of the movie because I think I was on the phone with my wife in the hallway outside the room, and you guys were harassing me. Actually, it wasn't even my wife at the time. We were only engaged, but it was like months before the wedding, and you guys were harassing me that I was on the phone with her instead of hanging out with you. But that was one of the few times in my life that I had my priorities straight.
So a bit of information from what I've heard, the Sheraton where Brick Fest 6 and Brick Fair 1 was held, 1 and 2. Not only has that closed, but they're tearing it down.
Oh,
yeah.
The site of the
just to let you know that keep those happy memories, because that's all you got left.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Dad.
What a downer. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah, I mean, I remember those early days when there was no public. Those were great days. I fondly remember the first cons at George Mason University, going across to Rocklands and hanging out with those guys there, and then walking across a few blocks and going to the hotel, all confined to that area. And me being kind of country in the big, quote unquote, the big city was a thrill for me to be in different environs doing it. What are you laughing at?
What Steve just put out. Oh, it's so true. He was all over Nick's wife like a wet shirt.
No, I don't want to go into that.
Oh, I forgot about
Oh, hi, Paul.
I'm glad we didn't read that one online.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, me. Well, the good thing about this chat is there, a lot of times, in a lot of ways, it feels like a little slice of those convention times where you're hanging out with your friends and telling goofy tales and busting on each other. And that's why I appreciate you guys coming and doing this every week, because it's a little taste of that. But if you have not been to a convention, if you've never planned on it, if you're a serious or a semi-serious fan of Lego, go. If you
you don't have to be serious. Just come.
No, it's serious. If you need to go. There are memories to be made, even if you just go as a visitor. But if you go as an exhibitor, a member of the convention, there's so much time. Even though you think, oh gosh, public hours, they're like what, 4 hours maybe of each day, or maybe 6 or something like that. That's just when you can hang out with your friends. You can talk. I like talking to the public myself, and inspiring kids and encouraging them, like Danny was talking about, where they actually let some special needs and autistic kids come have early hours, and we volunteered to walk those kids around. Man, those kids drunk that in. They were encouraged. That hit their hot button. And then, Dana doing that and encouraging them is great. But to go and to hang out with the vendors, to hang out with the other builders, to hang out. I mean, yes, there may be freebies. Yes, there's some deals you can get. But it's the camaraderie, the stories that, I mean, we're telling one from 06. What's that, 14 years ago? And I can remember most of those days with very vivid detail, unlike Steve, who remembers 2 hours. But right? But,
the best thing is when you do something and everybody sees you do it and they go, ew! And then the next year, one guy comes up to you and says, wow, man, I was totally mesmerized by what you did, and you inspired me. And then he goes and creates life lights.
Yeah, there you go. Right. I can remember, in fact, Stever, that there was a guy that was Stever's roommate.
Hey, Rye, is that ice cream?
Did you bring enough for everybody?
Sure didn't.
Cheers.
But I can remember, when Stever was kind of out of it for almost a day and a half, seemed like, I don't know. And his roommate, who was some guy we had just met on the internet, and they roommate together, Lego. We were like, "Hey, have you seen Stever today?" No. You wanna go check on him for us? Mine's all right. And he never went back to check on him. He never knew if the guy's breathing or not. And so, anyway, just those kind of great times.
I got one quick thing that we didn't talk about. And that was one of the things that I wasn't prepared for the first time that I was a displayer. And not all conventions do this, but a lot of them do, where they'll have swap meets and yard sales, and minifigure swaps,
part outs,
part outs. Oh man, a lot of our lug members will say, "I got to pay $60 to be an attendee to display." Why am I?
No, there's so much more.
I come home every year with more stuff.
I did mention that I had a $300 a month budget, except for when I go to Brick Fair when I have 1,000. Right?
Because you get some great.
Rub it in.
Sorry, man. It's because at Brick Fair, as Dana says, there's stuff to do. There's things to acquire. There's vendors. There's loose parts. Hey, I was going to finish this thing, and I need 20 16 by 85 base plates. Yep. And this guy's got them, and I need to buy them now.
Yeah. And there are even certain Bricklink sellers who will be like, "Hey, we're going to be at the show. We'll just, you can omit your shipping."
Yeah. I participate or have participated every year at Brick Fair in the Impaired Speed Build. And you get a set when you're done, whether you remember doing it or not.
Exactly. There are tons of games to do. I mean, it really is more of a vacation in some ways. So I mean,
An exhausting one, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you get vacation from your
Spend the money. You will get your money back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's right. All right. Hey, we're at about an hour and 44, so we probably need to wind this down. But thank y'all for coming. Yeah, if you don't, when the con season gets back, when it gets going, and you are serious about, or even not so serious, go to a convention.
Even if you don't know anybody.
It will fire you up. You will then, and here's the deal. If you're like, oh, I'm a fan of this builder online, 99% of the time, that person is just almost as shy geek as you are. Or maybe they're extroverted, but they're not, dude, what did you say?
More so. There's some of the amazing builders, man. They're that way because they've got like mushrooms growing on them. They never leave the house.
That's right. And yeah, and don't be offended if you try to. I mean, I learned that it's like, hey, I want to talk to you about your thing, and they're like, hi, and they go. They're not being mean to you. That is not their speed. But you will find somebody with a lot of similar likes, a lot of similar stuff in the hobby, and you'll make a connection. Hello, Domino's.
Yeah, the thing that I would add is don't frame it as if you're a serious Lego person. If you're Lego curious, go to these things.
Lego curious. Wow.
You're Lego. If you think you might have an interest in Lego, you should go to a convention.
Did you just assume my hobby?
I did.
He appropriated it. He sure did.
Ryan, we will refer to you as they from now on.
Yes, in productions you can. You will find somebody with similar interests. You'll find some. I've spent time driving to DC with Sandlin in the car. You got to talk to stuff. Been to DC a couple times with Tyler Kleitz, building a strong friendship there. Finding a kindred spirit in a lot of ways. You spend time with the people that you think you know on the internet, but you really get to know them in person. So convention is super hyper important to go to. That is true as well. So
we got to know Nick.
You know what? Go to a convention, invite friends to come, support it. When everything gets back, everything gets healthy, we can do the things. When you go display, invite your friends to come be a part of Public Day and help a lot of these vendors and convention investors and owners and things to get those shows back to be profitable so they can survive. And support your local shows if your club does that. Our club does a couple of shows. Go out all out on that. Those are fun weekends too because you get to spend extra time with your lug mates and everything. Hey, that's about enough time for us. Love you guys. Thank y'all for showing up tonight. Y'all have a super great night. Mr. Sandlin, congratulations on the new puppy. And a little shout out to my friend Brick Blaze who lost a pet today, and that's like the third one in a few months. So I know that's kind of hard on you, man. So praying for you and your bride and everything. So, hey, I hope you guys have a great night. Do something creative, be safe, put a mask on for crying out loud. Talk to y'all later. Have a good night.
Good night, you.